They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of this place.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies. Now, this video is about, and shout outs to RPM. This video is gonna be even more about Conan, as I like to call it, Conan 19. RPM calls it Charlie 19. You know what I'm saying? I prefer Conan 19 on my end. But with Conan 19 happening, Conan the Destroyer 19, Conan 19. With Conan 19 happening, a lot more men, it's gonna even push the level of acceptance of men when it comes to the avoidance process of traditional dating and playing a traditional role. Because what Conan 19 has done is it's forced men, whether they be simps or whatnot, your Chads, Tyrones, whatever you want to call them, to not be able to socialize, not be able to go to the bar, not be able to, for example, because of Conan 19, with the whole six foot distance thing, social distancing, you can't really, even if a guy was to go to the grocery store, you can't try to talk to anybody, because if you get closer than 6 feet, that person could say you were trying to give them the Conan 19, and you were risking their life. So a lot of men, and it's gonna be put into their mind, a lot more men are gonna be used to not so. Yeah, so a lot of men, because of Conan 19, are maintaining their distance. And what I've been telling people is that the long-term effect, the more we have lockdowns, the more, this Conan 19, the Destroyer, continues, it's actually speeding up the process of male awareness by, I'd say years. The longer, like for example, we've had over what is it now? I think we've had over 7 months of this lockdown. And I think within those 7 months, men have actually leaped over 2 years, over 2 years in their mental growth when it comes to, dealing with the opposite sex, because it's forced a lot of men to remain home, or even if they're working, to only associate with their male co-workers. And it's actually bringing men back to a mind state of I'd say the 1940s, 20s, and so on, where, men used to go to the bar with their with their best friends or their frat brothers, and there was only them. And what it's done is the longer this whole Conan 19 is played out, Conan 19, a Destroyer, and again, shout out to RPM, who uses Charlie 19. But the longer this lasts, the more men have time to think. And the more men have time to think, the more men will be escaping the grasp of consumerism, where it's all about spending and associating their worth with how much they're spent. Yeah, like I was saying, so the longer Conan 19, the Destroyer, lasts, the longer the further ahead men are leaping when it comes to their awareness, because men are having to face the realities of the world. That's why the numbers of subs are going up on all these these crimson, let's just call it blood blood red pills. You know what I'm saying? These crimson pill, God, man, all this stuff you got blocked because of YouTube. YouTube doesn't want to let you talk like a sane person. Man, I've had comments blocked on my own page where I'm replying. I didn't curse no one out. I didn't say nothing negative. But to get back to it, what's happening is this. Well, the longer Conan 19, a destroyer, continues, the further men are leaping. For example, for a man who's gone through this, it isn't 2020. It's actually 2021. The longer this goes, the further a man's mentality is going to leap year-wise. Because a lot of men are looking at it from a perspective of, with all the time they have to, think, especially now, is they're looking at the future, man, and they're thinking further and further ahead. Because I think what Conan 19, the Destroyer, is triggering is it's going to trigger something that I've been talking about. It's going to trigger the coming of men having overseas long-term relationships. And domestically, men are just going to start having flings. What Conan 19, the Destroyer, is doing is it's opening the eyes to men that, not only is the market global for your clothing, your cars, your technology, it's global for your social interaction, your dating, your starting a family, and so on. So what this is creating, it's creating the man that will seek to start a family overseas. And a lot of men are going to be domestically, when it comes to long-term relationships, lost. They're not going to be invested into it anymore. A lot of men are going to basically be gone and leave the long-term dating scenario in their domestic country and not return. Because what Conan 19, the Destroyer, has done is that it's triggered the reawakenness of manhood. And that reawakenness of manhood is the realization that society can stop. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Before Conan 19, the Destroyer, no one ever thought, it's never happened in history where restaurants were closed. You know what I'm saying? You being able to get your food, that was damn near impossible. That usually happens during a snowstorm and such, but not during an economical aspect. And what Conan 19 has done is it's reawakened that manhood where men are saying, man, I gotta depend on myself here. I gotta do what's best for myself, and I have to be able to rely on myself. Because look, we ran out of food. We ran out of toilet paper. They stopped shipping things. It's reawakened the man that seeks to take care of himself. And what a lot of these consumeristic companies don't get is that the longer this goes, and it ain't a day thing. It ain't men. Like I said, it's leaps. A month to a man on during this whole Conan 19, the Destroyer, is damn near 6 months to a year, or 3 months to a year of mental growth. The longer you leave a man to, dedicate to his mind, the further away his mind will be from his body. What I mean by that is that, you can think further than you can physically go. So the longer this goes and the longer men have to absorb and think on what's going on in the world, the further they're going to take their mind. They're going to seek out more information, more knowledge, and their mind will be so far ahead when it comes to their body. And what I mean by that is, for example, let's say Conan 19, a destroyer, after the elections are set and our president set, they return things back to semi-normal. What I mean by semi-normal is that, you'll be allowed to go to restaurants and all that, but, the servers will be wearing masks. You know what I'm saying? You'll still have to wear a mask going to the grocery store. It's going to be semi-normal. I don't think we're going to leave the whole mask thing. And, I don't think it's 100% a bad thing. Because, when somebody's serving you food, they shouldn't be talking over your food. You know what I'm saying? Spit flying out. But them wearing a mask and serving you food, nah, not as bad. You know what I mean? So, but what I'm saying, what Conan 19, the Destroyer, is doing is that it's gonna force a lot of men to mentally evolve. And your mind can always travel further than your body. And what's gonna happen is a lot of men are gonna look at their lives and say, man, I can't risk doing this. I can't risk doing that. What can I do? And men are going to create mental scenarios in their head. Okay, if I work here domestically, get my paper right, get my money right, then I can, go overseas, start a family over there and come back to work over here. And then since I'm focused on working domestically, I won't be socializing with any, women domestically. I won't be risking my employment with a false allegation or whatnot. That's what's going to happen, because another thing is what the media doesn't get. Let's say, after the M2, you know what I'm saying? The M2 thing that happened, you know what I'm saying? Where they're literally, whether that man was doing something wrong or not, whether it can be proven or not, they were M2ing him. And even if it wasn't as many women as it was reported by the media has spread it out to make it seem like a mass majority of women are going around with false allegations and so on. So a lot of men are absorbing that, whether it be true or not. A lot of them are saying, damn, that's a lot of risk, man. A lot of risk. I got this job. I got big money here. And you know what I'm saying? It only costs this much to take take a trip overseas. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of men are gonna, a lot of men are going to, a lot of men are going to, look at, look at the, want to look at things and say, man, I can't do it. I can't risk it. My future's on the line. And then you got to remember, we're in the internet age where, you could be filmed, you could be put online at any time, so a lot more men are going to look at things and say, man, I don't think it's worth it. Domestically, I have to be global with all my life decisions. I shouldn't just be global with my cell phone, my car. I need to be global when it comes to dating, starting a family, where I'm living, where my investments go. It's gonna create the overseas dating scene. Ooh, look at that. Remember I created that quote. Overseas dating scene. That's what it's gonna create. A lot of men are gonna start taking and saving their money and go to countries where the laws, because think about it, you got Coach Greg Adams, over 100,000 subscribers. You know, Donovan Sharp, over 100,000 subscribers. 33 Secrets, over 50,000 subscribers. Anthony Spade, you know what I'm saying? Better Bachelor, over 200,000 subscribers. You know, all this knowledge is being spread. And what's going to happen is a lot of men are going to look at dating through the global eye. And remember, Tinder and all these dating apps work overseas. So, you know what I mean? It's not like it's not like the old days where you got to walk around the town and ask around and all that stuff. It's all there for you anyway. So, what's going to happen is a lot of men are going to start having long-term relationships overseas. And domestically, they'll just have little flings or nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of men are going to have long-term relationships overseas. And like I said, with Conan 19, the Destroyer has done is that it's sped up men, their mentality. So a lot of men right now, 7 months of quarantining, lockdowns and all that, they're mentally ahead by, I'd say, around 1 to potentially 5 years. And some men are mentally ahead by 10. And what I mean by mentally ahead is that that's all they're focused on, is their future and what threatens what they've been thinking about mentally to have in a certain amount of time. So a lot of men are not going to go back to long-term dating in the domestic scene. They're going to invest long-term dating globally. You know what I'm saying? Whether that means going to the Philippines, Dominican Republic, Haiti, other countries, Colombia, whatever. A lot of men are going to start, just like a man basically does a lot of investments on what they can get overseas. They're going to look at families overseas. And, I know there's going to be a lot of the whole surrogacies overseas and so on, but I think a lot of men are going to look at it. I could have a family overseas, every month or so. I could take a flight to go visit my kids and my family overseas. You know what I'm saying? I could provide them with a good education that's far less agenda-based over there than here. So a lot of men are going to have long-term relationships overseas, and they're going to abandon long-term relationships domestically. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? A lot more men are going to go that route. So, and like I said, a lot more men are further ahead mentally, because this has allowed a lot of men to take some time and think about life. And a lot of those men that are thinking, they're not going to return to the domestic, duel of relationships and the potential risk of losing their job. They're going to look at it like this. Okay, if I go overseas, I try to date some chicks and something happens overseas where, they try to, do this and that, I can always leave. You know what I'm saying? But domestically, this is my foundation. I can't risk that foundation. So we're going to see a rise, man. It's going to be a rise in men. And I'd say right after Conan 19, the Destroyer, is been calmed down, a lot more men are going to go overseas. You know what I'm saying? A lot more men are going to start having long-term relationships overseas. Well, this has been Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, wouldn't negotiate with lies. Peace.
They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of